All right, now you can hear me. That's because I was on mute. Wonderful. Can everybody hear and see me okay? Really sorry about that. I used to do most of my streaming on Twitch, and I can't hear you. This looks like it's working. Yeah, you're working. All right, cool. So yeah, I used to do a lot of this on Twitch, but it doesn't make sense to try to be having like 2 separate platforms to be doing this on. So I didn't really want to consolidate on YouTube. What happened there was that I had set that stream to be ultra low latency, which YouTube does not support for 1440p resolution, which is what I play and what my monitor is. So I'll know that for the future. It's gonna suck because it's not gonna show up on the regular links that I was posting or whatever. But you know, what are you gonna do, right? So let's take a look at New York. So right now we're just in camera view, and let me press space here, get all the cars moving. I think before we cut out, somebody had asked if all of these buildings are unique to New York, and the answer, you know, for a lot of the big buildings is yes. In the first episode of the series, with already a good chunk of this area built out, we placed down all of the assets that are in the workshop. So, you know, these 2 buildings are workshop. I mean, almost all of this are custom assets in the workshop, although I have gone in during the last few days and I have added a few. So like this is a block here that I did go in and complete. So here's a nice complete block. And what I do when I build this New York is I'm not only trying to make it look like New York, but I'm actually like, when I'm building, I usually have Google Maps up in my side monitor, and I am looking at what it looks like on Street View or from satellite view and trying to add in buildings wherever I can that look the most similar to the actual buildings in New York. So, you know, if you were to go and take a look at this block in Google Maps, you'd see, you know, there is a kind of medium height tower here with some green tops. So you always can't get it that accurately, especially this part of Manhattan, but I do what I can. No, Catanium, you did not miss anything. I had a little bit of technical difficulty, but we're back up now. We're running. It says my bit rate is lower than it should be. Too bad. I definitely can support higher. I might need to tweak that in my settings. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Oh, I can definitely raise this up. What is it recommending I go to? 9,500? I can probably support that. Give me 1 second. This will make it all look a lot nicer for everybody. Let's just go to 9,000. Okay. Hopefully that'll resolve itself automatically, and yeah. Alright, so where were we? We're looking at Lower Manhattan here. So yes, a lot of the buildings along the waterfront, probably one of my favorite areas is because all of these buildings along the entire East River waterfront here, these are all in the workshop. Some of these are pretty old. Some of these work assets are like years and years old, but you know, they still look really nice. They still work good. I think probably some of the worst buildings are these buildings, some of these that are tucked in here. A few of these buildings are actually like really low detail assets, as you can see. There's a creator, and I don't recall their name, but they actually have a whole bunch of assets that are just like, they're the right size and the right shape, but you know, the quality of them is so-so. Yeah, we're definitely going to do World Trade Center, but that's going to be in the next episode. We're not going to build any of that today. I am really curious. Let's pop out of the free camera here and take a look at... Let's see. Yeah. So this is a newer version of this asset. Somebody had like recreated this asset, and I'm probably not putting this in the exactly right spot, but just to kind of give you a view of what it will look like when the time comes. You know, it's just so crazy. Like, even despite some of these buildings in New York being like 40 Wall Street is close to 1,000 feet tall, but I mean, this is, of course, iconically 1,776 feet from base to spire, and that's just a really nice looking building. So I can't wait to build this in the game. I'll probably end up having this be 2 episodes. I'm thinking of doing 1 episode of the traditional style where we build a World Trade Center and all the roads in Battery Park. But then I'm thinking about doing a second, more educational type video showing the different options for World Trade Center 2, which is the building that's meant to go directly next to it, but is currently not built. They've not been able to get an anchor tenant for it, and they have not had any reason to build it yet. They've had 2 main designs over the years, and then just literally like in the last week, they announced a 3rd design, which is kind of a mix of the 2 almost, but kind of its own unique thing as well. And I think that'll be a lot of fun to build. Tallest in the US, that is right. Although people in Chicago get pretty pissed about that because, you know, they had to bend the rules a little bit. Not maybe bend the rules, but interpret the rules a certain way in order to get it to be taller than the Sears Tower, the Willis Tower, as it's now called. What's the asset name for your bridge? So this is an actual Brooklyn Bridge asset, which is a little tricky to get to work. It doesn't actually work perfectly unless you have network extensions installed. And then the Manhattan Bridge here is the Bay Bridge asset, which is very popular. You'll see a lot of creators use it. This bridge looks a little rough right now. It's not finished because when I go to do the subway that runs on both sides of it, I'll need to massively tweak it anyway. And we're not going to get to that part of Brooklyn for a while anyway. I think I had mentioned in the last episode when we were building out some of the Lower East Side here, the Williamsburg Bridge goes right here. And once I build Williamsburg over here, basically everything west, you can kind of see this faint line running through the map. That's the BQE, because the Brooklyn-Queens Expressway is kind of dug in a trench underneath the roads in this part of Brooklyn. And we'll try to grid out everything here and build the bridge and do some buildings in one episode. But I'll have to see when I get to that, because building the subway as part of this is really important too, and we're just not quite there yet. What other questions? I keep leaning off to the side because I got the chat on my monitor over here, but yeah, I wish mods were on consoles too. I've never played this game on console. I haven't owned like a new console since like the Xbox 360. So quite a while. I had a Wii. I grew up a Nintendo kid. You know, I grew up Super NES, N64, GameCube. But I don't do consoles now. I put all my money into PCs because, you know, this game, at least the way that I play, it takes some pretty crazy. East River is small, like small in width, kind of. I mean, I haven't fully, like, these will get some keys, so it'll narrow in a little bit more, if anything, but this is actually fairly accurate to, you know, what it does look like in real life. This map is, my map's custom. Somebody asked for it again in a video. I feel like I could get that question for every video, but if you go to my workshop, this map is in there. And you can download it and try it for yourself. It does, I believe, take some mods to run and some expansions, but it's not overly burdensome. And as I had mentioned to some other people, the reason why this map is situated in this particular layout of the city is that I originally wanted to build LaGuardia Airport up here, but I don't really like building airports in the game, even with the new DLC. It's just so far from everything that the game doesn't know really how to handle it correctly. So more or less what we'll be building is Manhattan up to about here, the bottom of the park, this part of Queens, this part of Brooklyn, into here, and then Manhattan, Lower Manhattan, of course, as well. And that'll probably be about it. If we even get that far, I'll be happy, because that is, as you can imagine, that's a lot of work just to get there. That'll take us... I mean, I will never make any promises as to how many episodes this might be, but this could easily be... I expect this to be at least as long as East Yorkshire, which was 20 episodes before it died. But this could easily be 25 or 30 or 50 if I wanted it to be. So, you know, if it continues to be popular and people continue to want to see it, you know, we'll keep going, and I hope to keep going until it breaks, really. How do you get Google Maps map to map on? So do you mean the grid? So this little exclamation point up here, this is for the Overlayer V2 mod. And when I was getting the stream set up, I already balanced this out. Normally, this works off of ping files, so they need really, really large resolution ping files. And then I take them into GIMP and I make them semi-transparent, and then I overlay them. Now this is a really large one that overlays almost the entire map, but soon I'll go into that folder. I already have a bunch of these pre-created, and I'll use some that are a little more detailed, a little more narrow in scope, so I can get even more accuracy on some of the tougher parts of the city. But getting this, like, every time I open up the save, I need to totally redo this, which is a huge pain in the neck. It's really tricky. The mod is not perfect. There apparently is a better mod, but I'm just like so set in my ways on this one, I'm not gonna change it. Oh my god, we have 33 people here right now. That is awesome. When I woke up this morning, I was telling somebody, if I can get 10 at any point, I'd be happy, and like 50 in total would be amazing, and I didn't think we'd get this many concurrents. So for everyone watching, really appreciate it. But enough of me just mindlessly talking. Will you build Tammany Hall? I don't know if I have that building. I gotta look. Whatever buildings that I don't have, I will always try to build something similar. If I have something that looks similar, but I am curious as to whether or not at some point in this build, if I will want to just get procedural objects and, like, you know, move and grow buildings to make them more functional. What is this? Oh, I've never seen a button for their render it mod. Oh, what did that do? Not cool, mod, not cool. I've seen that bug happen before. Alright, so one thing that I want to show everybody, and I made a Reddit post about this the other day, but I am just like so thrilled with how this came out, is this is a custom road. So, as we built in the last episode, this is Houston Street. This is kind of where like the grid of New York starts. So this street right here, that's First Street. This would eventually get dragged along, but what we've done so far is this is First Avenue, this is Second Avenue. First Avenue, for most of its length, is a wide one-way street. It's about 30 meters wide in real life, using a 32 meter wide road in the game. But what I did was I took the 6-lane one-way road that's vanilla to the game, and I went into the road editor and edited it. So I turned it from 6 lanes into 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with the 5th lane, go all the way to the top here, not having any road arrows. So the 5th lane will be the bus lane. And then for the leftmost lane, I actually made the leftmost lane parking and then split what was the parking into a bike lane and a buffer. So bike, buffer, cars, parking, 5 lanes of traffic, and then another lane of parking, and it works. Like, I already tested it out. It works. I think I might want to go back in and change the spacing of the streetlights. I think they're a little too close together. But I did test this in the game the other night. Just kind of like created a few random things just to make sure that it worked, and oh my god, does it work. And I think it looks so cool. So this is just a combination of a slightly modified road in the asset editor and then the intersection marking tool, which is here. And I basically just created a preset so that I can like slap this onto roads really easily. And I think this is going to be so much better than having those kind of roads. I also want to call out, I also got some new road assets that I downloaded as well. So let me go check those out and show those to everybody. So the first of which, actually, I'll show it on the map because I laid one of them down already. Because somebody made a really good point in the comments of one of the videos recently of, you know, New York's a pretty good bike city. Are you going to put a lot of bike lanes in? And I kind of might disagree with it being a great bike city. I think New York could do so much better. Hey, California, what's going on? And I think somebody else was a New Yorker. Right on, man. I've been living in New York now about 7 years, and it can be tough to live in New York at times, but I love it here. All right, what am I looking for? Where is it? That was a little further up. Here it goes. So this is a new road that I downloaded, and I've been looking for something like this for the longest time, and this is from a creator called Olex, and he's pretty new. I think he's German. And yeah, this is the road. It is a two-lane, one-way road bike parking. But what's cool about it is this is a custom texture, so the bike lanes are pre-built. It's 2 lanes of traffic, a buffered parking lane, and then the bike lane, which is how a lot of bike streets in New York actually are. And I'm going to use this all over the place. And people are already using it. Like, people are already using this bike lane. Because like this is, I believe this is Chambers Street, or no? I need to pull up a map here. Let's see. Get another window going. Not Chambers Street. It's the one right below it, I believe. Yeah, this is... my bike lane. This is Warren Street in New York. So this runs straight across. Oh, that's so weird that when you zoom out, like the bike lane, the details change sides. That's a really funny thing. Okay, no big deal though. What am I doing here? Here we go. How do I feel about Texas? You know, I've never been to Texas. I'll be honest. If I had stayed at my last job, I would have visited Austin at some point for work. So I'm disappointed to not have that happen. I got nothing against Texas. You know, I think Texas has a problem with maybe some politicians there that don't care as much about their constituents, regardless of what side of the divide you're on, as they care about their own personal power and them and their buddies' personal finances. That's what I'll say about that. I should do Sao Paulo next. Never been to Brazil either. Never been to South America. I used to work with a lot of people in Brazil. I used to work for a company that had a factory out in Jundiaí, just outside of Sao Paulo. But I never got the chance to go down there. Seems like a really beautiful country with just culture and food that I would absolutely love. But realistically, I'm probably not going to be starting any other series while I'm working on this, at least not for the time being. And given how detailed the amount of assets and mods for this build are, I would probably, if anything, in the back of my mind is like, maybe I do another American city, but using these exact same assets. So obviously not building really distinct New York, like I wouldn't put the Woolworth building in another city, but, you know, using some of the more generic buildings like, you know, this one or even this one here, and building not another exact copy of an American city, but like doing a totally custom, more creative build with these assets. So kind of give me the best of both worlds. Savion, you didn't miss much. We were talking about some new roads that I created, and just kind of chatting a little bit, looking at chat, and trying to help out everybody here, right? You know, be a nice community. Oh, the Brooklyn Bridge interchange. Somebody mentioned that. Yeah, I've built this so many times, and it's never came out this good. It's hard to make it perfect. Like when you really zoom in, you'll be like, oh, that's not maybe perfectly circular, but you know, you got to work within the confines of the game as well. So I really like this area in general. I did detail this out a little bit, and then this building, this Verizon building, was not in the video. I couldn't find it in my asset list, and then when I was playing around another night off camera, I did actually find it. Where am I from? I am from New York, just outside the city myself, but my whole family is from the city, originally from the Bronx. So, and I've been living in New York now. I was in Brooklyn for a year, and then I've been now in Manhattan for 6 years. I lived out in Jersey. I've lived in the UK. That's really it. But, you know, I'm really growing up, never thought I'd get the chance to live in New York, and the fact that I've had the chance to live here now for 7 years is just fantastic. Yeah, so that's a good question. I should use the American theme from the roads. There are a lot of really good American road packs. The problem is that, like, realistically, unless you're really zoomed in here, how often are you seeing the roads? And for me, I think it's really much more important that I save my memory for as many custom building assets as I can. Like, I think having a custom asset like this, you know, Pace University looks a lot better than having a generic office building here but having nicer roads. And I really don't think these roads are too bad for a New York build, because they do at least have like the correct like zebra style crosswalks, which a lot of the custom roads don't. They have like the 2 lines, and maybe that's editable with the right mods, but to me it's not worth it. I do have a few custom roads though, so I obviously mentioned the custom roads that I built before and that new bike lane from Olex, But the last road that I wanted to show all of you is... I think it's here, yeah. So this is a road, this is a 4-lane, one-way road with double parking. But it's relatively narrow, and I'll just throw it down here to show you, but... I don't actually know how many, maybe this is actually a 4-way, yeah, this is actually a 4-width road, but with nice big sidewalks on it, so this will work in some parts of the city, but you know, a road like this doesn't exist in the vanilla pack. You either go to like the medium-sized roads, which give you 4 lanes, but they're narrow and they have no parking, or you end up with one of these like massive 6-lane roads. So I think this is like a nice happy medium. And even though it's a little wider than I want it to be, I could always like hover the building like maybe a half a square over the pavement, depending on how the walking on it goes. Oh, there's not even a road editor in the workshop? Yeah, that's rough. Honestly, the road editor in the game is like not great. I mean, it works, but it's not intuitive. It's very clumsy. It's not like, you know, it's technical. It's not really for people to like quickly throw together some roads. It tends to be a little bit more tricky to use than that, unfortunately. All right. So what I want to do here today, though, so we're talking about we've been on for about half an hour already. I do plan the stream to run for probably at least another hour. It's probably end this between 3:30 and 4 o'clock Eastern time. So we got a ways to go, but I do want to build out some housing because if you look at our current needs, we don't need any office or industries because I've built so many office buildings in Lower Manhattan, but there's not enough commercial and there's not enough residential. So we want to build some of that. And I'm thinking, I'm going to look over here at the map. Mets or Yankees? Yankees, obviously. Nothing against the Mets, though. Nothing against the Mets. I actually really love Citi Field, and I much prefer to go to Citi Field than I do Yankee Stadium, because Yankee Stadium is a sterile, boring, expensive, and unexciting baseball experience. I don't go for the sports. If I wanted to watch baseball, I'll watch it at home. But when I go to the stadium, Yankee Stadium's got shitty beer, crappy cafeteria-style food. I just don't enjoy it. When you go to Citi Field, you got craft beer, you got good food. It just feels more atmospheric, even though the Mets are not my team. Questions coming from a Houstonian. Well, I already said fairly nice things about Texas, but I have nothing good to say about the Houston Astros. Not at all. Sorry. I mean, go like I don't know, go Rangers if you're a Rangers fan maybe, but it seems like maybe you're a Astros fan, and you know, congrats on that World Series. Probably should have been us. That's all I'll say about that. Jets or Giants, Islanders or Rangers. So I'm not a really big hockey fan. Rangers if I have to choose. Same thing for basketball. Knicks if I have to choose, but not a big basketball fan. Big football fan though. Giants fan. Giants suck. I think they're one of the most low-key, boring, traditionalist, slightly racist teams in the league. I don't really watch them like I used to. When I watch the NFL now, I watch like the playoff games and I watch Red Zone. I don't even bother watching the Giants. They're trash. Well, honestly, my favorite sport though is soccer. I'm a really big English Premier League fan. Although my team that I support, the Hull City, are in the Championship, the 2nd division. All right, so I'm gonna lose you in chat for a little bit. I can't see you for a moment. I gotta look at the map here, see what I want to build. So what we've built over here is these are actually like the exact buildings. I don't know if somebody like used those New York buildings as a model, but they are housing projects, they're called, which is like but they're like the perfect size and shape. The person who built these must have built them off of that part of the city. Let me get these bike lanes off. Okay, so what I want to build first is this big block right here. So, all right, I can see you all in chat again. Who we're rooting for in the Super Bowl? I don't know. I mean, I guess I prefer to see the Bengals win it because like Joe Burrow's pretty cool and they've never won. The Rams have won, although not particularly recently. I wouldn't mind seeing Stafford win it either. I'm just kind of hoping it's a good game. I hope the commercials don't suck. And yeah. No worries about that. It's going to be fun. I'm just excited for it to be a fun game, really. This is... Alright, so... Is that like a road, though? These buildings have like a weird courtyard in between them. I can't really tell, but... I think I'm going to need to put a road down there just so that it'll work. I'm a big fan of using this road, which is the zonable pedestrian road. So, like... Because it kind of just looks like a path, but it will let me, you know... So this isn't one of the weird... I don't know the history behind this part of New York. But these buildings we're rebuilding are just like giant squares of apartment buildings. And I gotta find a building that works well. Let's see. This could work. Maybe that's a little small. Yeah, that's what I want to use. Yeah, that's the perfect size. And then I'm just going to layer these in. So this basically, both of these squares are going to be this building in a loop all the way around. And even though I think these only hold like 8 people, that should it should still look pretty cool. My go-to news channel in New York. I don't really watch the news, like the local news. Growing up, we were a big ABC7 family, I think, like more than anything else. But yeah, nowadays, like I don't have TV, like I have an antenna that's not even hooked up. So when I want news, like, I don't know, like I just get it from other places. Alright, so let's see if this is going to be a whole lot of copying and a whole lot of move it. Copy that like that and go ping, 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 ping. One more, come on, there we go. Should be able to get that down like that, and that should work out really nicely. Cool, and then I just gotta like take this same building and let's see, I think 3 might be enough. Maybe I'll need 4 now. 3 should be fine. I'm trying to remember if when I built this the last time, if I used this same building, if I used something different, but I do think this one looks pretty good. Oh, I do need to drag these back a little bit, because actually the area in between these is a little bigger than it looks. Okay, actually, I'm going to do this. Should be able to align these all. Or no, I want to do, there we go. So now they're all on the exact same orientation. Well, that one didn't really look it, but... Yeah, as much as Move It is like a wonderful, wonderful mod, there's sometimes where it's just like, you know, it still can be tricky. So perfect. And let's get these all linked up. Oh no, I missed one. I have to leave this a little bit like uneven because... And then let's drag this back just a little bit to widen that space in the middle. And then I guess this is dumb because I'm not gonna like... I don't know why I built these when I'm just going to do this. Oh yeah, sorry if I didn't see your question before. No, I'm not going to be doing any airports for this build. Basically when, like, you know, City Skylines is not really meant to, like, have maps that are this big. So building, like, an airport, it just doesn't really work too great. It takes the cars so long to get from one end to the other that they don't, like, it doesn't doesn't function quite correctly. And you know, like I mentioned in the first episode, this series is really like trying to be a mix between, you know, real functionality and looking accurately. But I'm not a big airport guy in general. I mean, I do love to travel, but I think it's more important that we build the subway, we build bus routes. I don't really want to spend like a couple episodes building an airport. This is not really appealing to me at all. Right, those three are in. Copy those. Great, and then I think I copy this whole thing and then copy it over again, and then we're done. Let me copy something with no nodes or segments. So the right side of this complex is a little more... Obviously, I gotta condense some of this now. Because a lot of the streets down here, like everyone, I feel like everyone thinks about New York in terms of the grid. But, I mean, it's just so much more than that. You know, there are these older blocks that just have, like, random buildings or random complexes. And sometimes you end up with weird angles. I think somebody asked me in one of the videos about like how I'm gonna handle doing like Broadway, like through the middle of the city, which is like has a lot of weird angles, and I was just like, you just do your best, really. Like you just try to angle things in as best as you can, and there are a few nicely angled buildings in the workshop, maybe not as many as I like there to be, but you just make do. I'm a big fan of this phrase in general, but it certainly holds true for City Skylines, which is, don't let perfect become the enemy of good. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that saying, but you know, it just essentially means like, you know, don't let something that you think needs to be perfect prevent you from doing it at all. And I think I can say that about this whole series. It is what it is. Like, do all these buildings look perfect right here? No, of course they don't. But they fit. And they'll provide housing as needed. And when you zoom out, you can't even tell. It's just a lot of people, and we'll restart this year, so we'll start getting these filled in. I mean, you say that, but like if you went to look in this at Google Maps, so this is the complex bounded by Cherry, Catherine, Monroe, and Market Streets. Yeah, I mean, they have like little like water towers in each corner, and they got a little bit more setbacks and some angles, but in terms of the color and the height of these buildings, it's perfect. And again, maybe this wasn't the same building that I used the last time when I built these. I'm curious now if I actually used something else. But I also don't like to overly deliberate in anything. I don't want to like, you know, be constantly trying to like sitting here scrolling every time I want to find a building to get the perfect building. Because there is no perfect building unless the building exists in the workshop, and for this one it doesn't. And then all I'll do is just, you know, funny, these buildings don't have backs to them, which kind of looks funny. But just throw some trees in. And that's it. You know, when we're taking screenshots of it, it looks great. Yes, that's a good point. So there is a very tall building by the bridge. Let's build that, because I know what I want to use for that, because I've done it before. So this is this is one of the most controversial buildings in the city that I can remember being built in a very long time. So I'm going to use for this one of the Hudson Yards buildings. I said the same building I used the last time I made this. Here we go. So this is 15 Hudson Yards, which actually in real life goes up here somewhere. But we don't have that built yet. But what I can do for this is layer these in. There's going to be one like that and one like that. And then I'm going to take both of these and I'm going to sink them into the ground a little bit. I'll clean that up when I need to, just to make them a little bit less tall, because these are really tall, but they're not quite as tall as the real building is. Oh, nope, that's not it. What am I doing? So I'm going to this one kind of angles like this. And then this one will kind of angle directly next to it. But I want to overlap the lobes. Maybe just like that. But that's over on the road, so I'll move these down a little bit. Yep, there we go. Yes, I was saying, these buildings in New York are actually like super controversial because they're just like totally out of scope with the rest of the neighborhood. And, you know, this neighborhood, this is 2 bridges. This is into the Lower East Side. These are traditionally lower class, working class, lower income neighborhoods. And, you know, building these giant towers that rich people live in it's going to change the neighborhood, whether they want to or not. All right. What else do we want to build? It looks like the residential demand is declining a little bit. These each hold 150, so that should really help out. But I want to do some commercial builds. I want to get some like really New York looking buildings in here. So let me take a look at where I could do that, and we'll do it together. Let's build out this little area here. So again, I'm looking off screen a lot. I'm looking at, you know, how this looks in the game, or how this looks in real life. And so just as a reminder what streets we're on, this is Canal Street. This is Allen Street. And this is Essex Street. And we're going to build right in here, I think. Let's start at it. So this is my general process from when I'm building out areas. I'll usually go into custom, I'll go into what shape I want, and then I'll kind of peek through and... Oh, I need global. Oh my, why is it not showing me anything? There we go. So building like this. No, just like that. Perfect. Here we go. There's my New York assets. And then, I mean, when I used to build this, like off camera, I used to get so deep. I would like measure out the blocks on the screen, like using the measuring tool of Google Maps, which is just like so unproductive. I just get nothing done when that happens. And then, of course, a lot of move it involved, getting these all to touch. But I just love the way these are all going to look. Let's do another one. This is going to go 2 by 3, it looks like. This one looks more residential, actually. Let's see. What do I have? Yeah, that looks good. I love this asset. Looks very New York with the fire escapes. Speaking of fire, though, I do have the no fires mod installed. So even though, you know, I will put some fire departments down in places where they look cool and make sense, you know, for the most part, there'll be no fire trucks running around in this game. All right, let's see. Next one should be like I don't know, like a 1 by 2 maybe. But I need something kind of tall. Maybe I'll just go for a 3. It's the balance between, like, you know, things that fit together and not, but I mean, this is how I like to build it, like going through it kind of bit by bit. Do I have City Hall? So I put this building in, which is like a City Hall from the asset, which I think looks really nice. It's the same shape. The other building here, though, I don't have. I wish it was like an asset. Although, really, the one asset that I think would like that doesn't exist that I think would just be like the best is there should be a really tall building like right here in front of Pace. And this is I think it's called 1 Beekman, but it's the building that has it almost the exterior almost looks wavy. It's such a cool looking building, and it just doesn't exist. It's like one of the biggest buildings in New York that doesn't exist in the workshop. But you can't have it all, you know? Yeah, World Financial. So the World Financial, I think I have like the big group one. Right? So like this is the one where you just like lay down the entire thing. I don't know, like I don't know exactly where it goes, but like something like this. So I haven't I obviously haven't laid this down. This is tricky to use. This is an old asset too, but this will look really nice next to the trade center once it's ready. But that'll definitely go down in the next episode for sure. Anybody else have a favorite building in New York that they hope to see at some point? Go back to where this was. Where was I? Oh man, I lost my place. This is the tough part. Here we go. Let me put the corner building in. A lot of times it's like, you know, whatever you can put in on the corner is like really what dictates the rest of the build, because you're trying to like, you know, find something that fits in nicely like this. Some of these are new, like this to me is a totally new asset, but it's awesome. And it's one of those ones that doesn't automatically like lock to a cell. Like you see, like I can do this to it. Like it's locked to the street, but it's not locked horizontally. Not in most buildings, like most buildings click into the cells, and some of these don't, which is just, it makes it so much easier. It involves a lot less move it. All right, and then next to that, there should be definitely like a nice long building, maybe a 1 by, let's see, by 4 can I squeeze in? Oh, not by 13. Gotta be careful too, because what killed really like the previous save of this was like too many commercial buildings on like small blocks like this, and it gets to the point where there's so much traffic, there's so many citizens, there's so much people trying to get in and out that the goods trucks can't get there, and then the buildings are like, I can't get goods and services, and then they basically die. And I don't want that to happen this time. For sure do not want that to happen. Looks good. Oh, and this is the tough part too. Some of these blocks, like, this is like what, like 1.5 squares left? But I know I do have some like skinny buildings. There are some like narrow buildings in the workshop that I will use to kind of fill in those awkward gaps. And then one more regular building. Let's see. That's what I got here. Oh, this one's nice. Oh, I have that one down already. Maybe this one? Yeah, that's good. So, yeah, I mean, you know, you end up overlapping in a few places, but again, how often are you going to be zoomed in at this level? Only in screenshots, only when we're on live streams. But, you know, once you get zoomed out a little bit, you can't tell that there's buildings overlapped, but let's finish the rest of this block, and then, you know, you'll get a good idea of how the whole city's gonna look, because varying the height like this just makes all the difference. How many times have I restarted this project? You're gonna make me cry on stream. I don't know, like, this is at least the 3rd time that I've done this. The first time I did it, I was using somebody else's map, and it wasn't scaled properly. It had that 4% error that exists in Terrain Party. The second time I did it, I screwed things up. And then I think the third time I did it was when I finally, like, I got it built. So the third time that I did this, I had the entire grid built all the way up to the bottom of Central Park and some of the Upper East Side. I had Queens all the way up to the Queensboro Bridge. I had all of Greenpoint and Williamsburg and all of Southern Brooklyn west of the BQE. And I had all of Hoboken and a good chunk of Jersey City done as well. And I had about 200,000 citizens, and that's when it started to really break down. And that just never got put to video. I mean, I never recorded that. I started doing that series before I had even thought about doing a YouTube series. Oh man, that just splashed all over my monitor. Give me a second. What I really had wanted to do was do videos with that save, but once the save broke, it didn't really make sense to kind of like go back to something that's already been completed in order to show people how it's built. I feel like that would have been really disingenuous. So I wanted to do it again, and I wanted to make some tweaks to do it right. And it's like between the new tweaks that I want to make and all things that I've learned from doing this before, I fully expect this to be the last time that I ever build New York and City Skylines. I certainly don't want it to ever happen again. I think 3 or 4 times is enough. This will be the last one. Alright, so let's build out the rest of this block. And in the middle of blocks, I like to put residential. So let's get some residential in here. Let's see. Just like, I think for this side, these are in most of the New York City blocks, it's like you can get a 4 and a 4 on each side, like it really fits nicely. But some of these Lower East Side blocks, you can see, it's like a 3.5 and a 4. So I have to decide like which buildings on which side will be 4 and which buildings will be 3, and I'll probably put the 4s on this side since that's where the grid is laying, and that'll just kind of make the most sense. But I don't have a lot of 1x4 buildings, so we'll make do with what we have. I thought I had more than this. I'm sure that there's some assets that like I used to use that I just don't have anymore. But another thing that I can do is a lot of these like are just longer. So like, instead of doing 1 or 2 at a time, you just do like, yeah. And some of these assets, these are like fine builds from like 5 years ago at this point, but I don't know, these are still really nice assets. They still look solid. And then sometimes you got to do some fun things. So there is like one building on this block that's taller than the others. So let's see if I have something that's like a little bit different. Yeah, let's go for like that. I think looks cool. And then maybe I will put in like one like low grade commercial in here somewhere. And then back to res. Yeah, Beekman Tower, that's what I was talking about before, yeah, for sure. Hey, from Turkey, man, I'm on a big Turkey kick right now. My football team, my soccer team just got bought out by a Turkish group, by Acun Ilıcalı. And I'm just like, you know, it's the first time in a while that the football team is having good ownership and good investment, and I'm so excited to see how far he can take the team. So let me look up Beekman Tower and make sure that we're talking about the same thing. I think we are. Oh, It's showing me a different building. Yeah, I guess that is. I mean, that's a nice looking building for sure. I don't know if I have an asset for that, but I really like that building. That's pretty far north. It'll take me a while to get up there for sure. Okay, so the ground and the water for a map. So you have to do it in the map editor, of course. I think there is a new website out there, and I don't have it offhand, so if somebody knows it, post it in chat, sure. But what people were using for the longest time and when I built this was a website called Terrain Party. It was terrain.party. And it doesn't work anymore, so it doesn't pull the height maps properly. But what it used to do was you would like drag your city's skyline box wherever you wanted. It was like the standard map of the grid over any part of the globe, and then you'd hit a button and it would spit out a bunch of files with the geologic survey height maps of that area. You would then import that into the game, or so actually you would take it into like GIMP or Photoshop first, correct its 4% error, so grow it by 4%, slice off the edges, and then bring that into the game editor. And then basically you just like place some water sources down and raise the sea level up. And that's really it. You know, I stuck in road connections, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4 road connections. There's ship connections. There are airplane connections in this map. So, I mean, map editing is not something that I'm really good at. Like, there are some people out there who, you know, make a somewhat custom map and then load it into the game and do all kinds of work with the landscaping tool. $2.20 is really good at that in particular. I really love seeing the work that he does, like sculpting mountains and hills and really diverse landscapes. I'm not that great at that, and it's one of the reasons why I like working in New York, because it's like almost entirely flat. Yeah, actually, let me take a look, because I might have it in my bookmarks. Yeah, so it's... Actually, let me just... I think this is the site, and if it works, yeah, that works. I'm going to put this into chat. So I'm dropping in the chat the link for the new Heightmap creator. It's heightmap.skydark.pl. Do I have 60 Wall Street? I think I do. Yep. Come on. Yep, so 60 Wall Street is this guy right here. Nice looking building, and actually the building again on that block that I kind of was already able to do myself. Oh boy, I already got people dying? What's going on here? Am I already having a death wave? Is that possible? By population chart. I like never use these things and I always forget like where they are. Maybe I don't have any death care? That's possible too. Let's see. Health. Death. Oh yeah, that'll do it. There's no death care. Well, there is, but it's like all the way up there. So I'm really a big fan of these. These are the block services. So this just kind of like lets me like throw a block somewhere where it's needed. So I'm just gonna like tuck this in here and let that building just like be the death care for like that. So yeah, boom, done. And that'll spawn, yeah, a lot of hearses, I guess. Yeah, you can already see the hearses kind of piling in and out. That's cool. All right, that's good. That should fix that problem. It's really tough to get easy to get distracted by like wanting to build roads that you end up like totally neglecting. Like half your city will be like, we're out of electricity, and you'd be like, oh shit, I didn't even realize it. My bad. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to do Hoboken. I would. I did it in the last build, the last time that I did this. So I actually built out. It looked really nice. I built out all of Hoboken proper, like all of it, including the light rail and the path. So I might not promising anything, like do a little bit of Hoboken just to get the path built in properly. But I really would like to focus on New York in this build. And I'll also probably like build some of the interchanges of like I will eventually rebuild the Holland Tunnel and Lincoln Tunnel interchanges, but I won't do that until we get a little further on. And that might even just be done off camera, and then I'll show it off on a live stream or a live play. 60 Broad Street. That one I'm not sure. I don't think any other 60 showed up when I did that before. No 60 Broad Street. But these are really cool buildings. I love these. These actually, there's a whole bunch of these that go into this area as well. Let me pop one of them down. I'll show you. Where do those go? Oh yeah, like in this big area over here. It's like one of them goes right there. One of them goes right there. These are actually a little bit oversized. I don't even know if this was the same asset that I used to use. It could be the other one is like just gone now. There's so many assets for the New York that have like disappeared. But these look a little bit too big. But like whatever. They look nice. They're gonna hold a lot of people. Oh my god, 240 a pop. Hell yeah. Yeah, there's a few buildings that there used to be a creator that I used to chat with occasionally who was doing a lot of New York assets. I can't think of his name, and he's changed his name anyway on Steam, but oh, it used to be Fang Pachang or Fang Pachen, something like that. And he had created the building that goes like right here, 70 Pine Street, which is missing. Had some really nice assets, and some of his are still in the game, but some of them are not. And they were not recreated. They're just gone now, and that's just the way it goes sometimes. It's an old game. We're all beckoning colossal order, right? When will you build the next game? When is City Skylines 2 coming out? Nobody knows. I certainly don't know. All right, let's keep building some let's keep building some buildings here. All right, so let's get rid of this. Get out of there. These buildings I really like because they have awnings that like only work in certain directions. Oh, there's a nice one here. This is, I think he's one of my favorites. We're right on the other side of this. Not that. Not there. It's in here. Right there. Come on. There we go. This is one of my favorite buildings to work with in this in New York when I build. Like, to me, this style of building is just perfect for this neighborhood, and I love how, you know, it's one of those corner pieces. I'd like to ask as well to everyone who's listening, what do you think of the color scheme of the current settings? So I'm currently on Relight Neutral with a bunch of other mods and settings a lot layered in there as well, but I'm sometimes wondering if it's like too bright and too yellow. And I'm tempted to like go to something a little bit more dark and drab like my last series, but maybe everybody likes this. Maybe I'll just stay with it. I'm a little bit indecisive when it comes to that. Tribeca Tower I have. Tribeca Tower is a wonderful asset on the workshop right there. Really pretty looking building, and it holds 500 households, which is just like, it makes this area around it like just so full of cars. It's great. And it's good actually. You know, I said in the last video that I got new custom car assets, and it's good. They're finally starting to like layer in, and the old ones are quickly disappearing. Like this guy. Get out of here. We also have custom police car assets, custom taxi assets, custom bus assets, custom subway assets, all of those for New York. I was even tempted maybe today to like put the first bus route in, but I didn't do enough like research to figure out which one we could do, because I could only do it to roads that are already built, and we don't have enough built yet. So I think we'll hold off on that for now, but not yet. Not the next episode, maybe episode 5 or 6, maybe 7, we'll get to the subway. We'll do like a few lines at a time in the video, and with a little bit of historical detail about the differences between the letter, the number lines, the BMT, IND, IRT, all that. So if that sounds like a bunch of word salad to you, it would to most other New Yorkers, so don't worry about it. very few New Yorkers truly know, you know, how the subway works and why it is so different. Really, it's such kind of like a relic at times, but I love it. It is always, always, always the best way to get around. What can I put in here? Will this fit like a 3x2? I'm not even sure. That's too big. That's way too big. Yeah, I'm gonna throw that down, but then I'm gonna hide it behind the others. There we go. Let's fill the back side of this in, and then we'll have our first complete block. Can't wait. And then throw some suggestions in the chat. Let me know what you want to see next after we finish this block. We can either do more blocks, or we can, you know, look around the city of parts that you want to see, or potentially do something else entirely. I'm open to whatever. Maybe not. I definitely need that. There's definitely some assets that I used to like to use that I don't have right now, and that's very frustrating. But you know what? I'm not going for perfect. I just want it to look good. It's going to. That's the plan. Let me make these a full 4. I don't really care if the trees overlap a little bit. Reality is, in these parts of the city, there's not actually trees behind these buildings. There's very rarely enough space, you know, behind a building like that for it to fit. We got another 3 spots left there, so let's do another 2x4. Not that one. Oh, and then I guess I need one of those narrow ones again, because that's really small. This one. And there it is. Start the simulation back up. There's our first block. And I know this doesn't look like a lot right now, and it looks like, you know, trying to do all of this is really tedious, and it is to some extent. But what I tend to do is I'll build some completely custom like this, and then I'll look at the map and be like, all right, well, there's another block like here that looks exactly the same, so I'll just like copy that, spin it, and lay it down. And, you know, I think like usually that's enough. Then I can always sometimes go back and, you know, like redo it, like maybe move a couple in and out, but like the example would be to do this. And then boom, just like that, you've got another one. And all of these are gonna fill up just so fast, I know it. All right, ooh, back to chat. Chat is scrolling away from me. Oh, Scranton would be awesome. I've never been to Scranton, but I listen to a lot of music that's from that area of the country, so the Equitable building is one of those ones that no longer exists in the workshop. It did exist, it was awesome, but it's just gone now. World Trade Center 4, I believe I do have. That's a plaza. Maybe I gotta put in 4. Sometimes it can be hard to find these things, you know? What, WTC maybe? That's part of... I wonder what it's under. Or maybe I can only find it in other areas. This is another reason why I tend to do some of these things like in the videos, because like nobody wants to see me sit here and just scroll through assets. Or maybe you do, I don't know, but I know I have World Trade Center 3. That's not showing up, so is it like World Trade? There we go. There's 7. There's 4 World Trade. So I have 1, 7, 4, and 3, and then I have 2 different models of 2, which will, I think I said earlier, that'll be discussed in the video for sure. What's up? Can I see the total progress? Yes, you can. So here's where we're at. Some of this was built off camera just recently. Talking earlier about these kind of custom roads with markings on them, which look really cool. This is going to be the East Village. So this is Houston, this is 14th, and this will be the East Village. Or the East Village kind of runs at least like from 3rd, so it's kind of this area over here, and this will be West Village. What is my biggest city? It's this. Well, the previous build of it. I think I got it up to just shy of 200,000. I don't think I actually ever eclipsed 200,000 because at that point it was just absolutely like tiny frame rate, death waves everywhere, just absolutely insane. So I put in all that housing and the housing demand went up. But we're over 6,000 people now. I think I wanted to get to 10 in this episode, or in this stream, but do you think this is possible on vanilla? No. I mean, just simply no. But there's nothing stopping you from vanilla building something that looks similar, that is New York inspired, that, you know, maybe has some New York features to it, and you make it your own. That's all I can really say. You know, this is, that's the joy of this game. There's some creators out there who would never want to do this, because to them this is not creative enough, this is not what they like to do. They want to do custom. And that's cool. I like doing custom cities too. My last series was a fully custom series, and if you want to go check that out, all the videos are in the channel still. I don't know if any of you were following me back then or found it at some point, but I do actually have a previous channel that never really got off the ground that I do have one video of a pretty complete New York of the previous build. However, that video is like low quality, crappy audio. I didn't have a good microphone yet. It's really rough. So I'm not gonna share it, but if you can find it, you know, that's good for you. What's the building pack name? No building pack. I have a few different DLCs installed, but I'm not really using many vanilla assets. Excuse me. And this is really just all custom. Like, these are all from the workshop. And you can see, hustle and bustle already. One thing when you build New York early on is you get just like so many people like parking their cars everywhere because there's no mass transit yet. But once you start building the subway, they love taking the subway. I'll get thousands of people on the subways. You'll see like hundreds of people waiting in a place to get the subway. And I just love these kind of busy, crazy interchanges. One thing that I did call out, and wanted to call out as well, that I went back to the stock traffic lights. So I had been using like the New York style traffic lights, but they were causing me a lot of problems. It's some mod that hasn't been updated in years, and they're really buggy. And I figured, you know what? I'll save myself like 100 megs of RAM to get more buildings and change this into something else. Biggest city is 300K. Yeah, I mean you can make massive cities. Like you can build like if I filled all this in with like high density skyscrapers, I could probably get 100,000 in this little area right here. But that's always impressive though. If you can ever get any city working and like not like a giant mess of traffic at 300,000 people, you are good at playing this game. Simple as that. Looks like a real New York block. Yeah, I mean that's the dream. I think my favorite part to build that really looks like New York is when I get to the East Village. Because when you get to the East Village, like you can build Tompkins Square Park right in the middle, and then all those roads there. So you know what? Let's build out some of these streets. What do you say? So this is 2nd Avenue, a downward street, 1st Avenue and upward street, and then this is Avenue A. So everyone kind of thinks of New York as like having numbered avenues, but if you look, 1st Avenue runs straight up the spine, not the spine, but like the right side of the city. And east of that, down here, there's more room. So east of here, there is A, B, C, and D. And those names don't exist up here. So up here, there's also like a York Avenue, which is A, and then there's an East End Avenue, which is B, but they're not contiguous because certain parts of this, they'd basically be in the water. Figure out where Avenue B goes though, where do I connect that? So Avenue B is a two-way street with parking on either side, so like the most basic vanilla road. And there are 2 streets in between. So this is Essex Street running into A. Then there's Norfolk, Suffolk, and Clinton. This street here. I always like to build. Let me get the angles off. Build the first street right there, and then the others will go straight north. That looks good. Let's see. And then, yeah, and then 14th Street actually is easy in the game because it looks like just like it does in real life. Want more of it as well, so I can drag this out to D. That and the avenue. Oh no, is that C? D? No, that's C. I'm losing my mind here. I can't do the alphabet anymore. Somebody help me read. And this is, I'm gonna do this as a bike lane as well. This is annoying. Like I wish there was only, again, like bike lane and parking in the same thing, but you know, you can't always have it all. Once those are in, we can start connecting some of these. Damn, 250 at 70%. That is pretty damn good. When I got the previous build in New York up to like 150 to 200 in that range, my traffic was staying pretty steady at like 75%, and then it hit like some critical mass where it just like died. Like it just, my traffic like dropped seriously. Trucks couldn't get to commercial buildings. It just really fell apart. Empire State I have, UN building I have. Next episode, so I didn't really start shooting any of it yet because I wanted to do this first. But I'm probably gonna, I got a pretty busy week ahead. So I would really love to be doing these like every week, but in the reality is it's gonna be more like 10 days to 2 weeks and sometimes longer to do episodes. That's because I have a full-time job at a like pretty big time company. Like I took this job like 3 months ago. I'm like a director level at a big cosmetic company, and yeah, it takes up a lot of my time. I have friends, I have a girlfriend, so you know I'm busy for sure. But yeah, I always put the time in, and everyone who knows is really supportive of what I do here. So they might not always be on a regular cadence. You might not be waking up every Monday to seeing a new video or something like that, like other channels do. But you know, I'm still gonna try to get these videos out as soon as I can, as quickly as I can, and do live streams in between. He's asking you. How old am I? I am in my 30s. That's all I will say about that. I don't recommend it. Don't get old, guys. It sucks. Viking layer on. Let's put... So, and here's how to remember. If you're ever in New York, the way to remember which direction the streets go is that even is east. So even number streets run west to east. They run towards the east. And odd number streets go westbound. But the problem is that it's like not always, like it's like the general rule, but it's not always true. Like there are occasionally exceptions. All right, so first off, I want to go and get my new, where's my new custom road? The one that I love so much. Here it is, because 13th Street is a bike lane. From where it starts, right about here to there. That's it. So I'm obviously not gonna even these up yet. I'm gonna come back and do it. There are better ways to do this. Like I could, as I'm drawing the north-south street, you can stop at each level and like, you know, balance them out. But again, this is one of those things where it's pretty close. And you don't gotta get it perfect. And this is a nice bike lane. Although, wait a minute, this street should be going the other way, right? No, this is good. We're good. This is the correct way. Ooh, why is my computer freaking out? Oh, one thing I know I want to do, that I wanted to have you all remind me to do, but I didn't, is save. Save early and save often, guys, because this game, especially if you're running anywhere near the number of mods and assets I am, it will crash. You will lose your data. You will cry. All right, next up is 12th Street, which is the same road, also a bike lane. So like New York often does this where they do bike lane pairs. Oh man, is adding these streets in removing my decorations? That sucks. I mean, I can put them back, no problem, but... I'll know that for the future. I'll decorate afterwards, not in the middle. 12th Street goes all the way through. There we go. So I'll show you again. Change my tags for that. Just like that. I love it. I absolutely love the way that these look. I actually had but like spoke a little bit to the creator that did that bike lane road, and I was like, hey, like, you planning on making any other roads? Because like certainly it'd be easier to just like lay this down without having to do the markings. But he was like, no, I'm not doing any more roads. And I mean, I would have paid him. Like, I never expect any creator to like, you know, make me something out of the goodness of their heart. What the hell? But, I mean, this is not the ideal way, it's not the perfect way to do it, but it definitely looks good, so I don't mind. I really would like to do maybe like put a building up here. Let me throw some buildings up here, see if I can get people parking so you can see what it looks like. What tall buildings am I going to build next? World Trade Center. Next video is going to be World Trade Center 100%. Like, guaranteed, that's what's happening. Okay, so this is... some big buildings. This is 14th and 2nd. All right, so let's put in some big... Let's get the... Oh! 13 roads. Let's do like a 4 residential. I need bigger than that. I need like a 4x4 here. This is a really nice big building on this lot. Let's see. That's too intricate. Oh yeah, something like that. Maybe. I'm definitely missing a building from this set that I used to really like using. I'm gonna have to go and find that on the workshop or in my, like, I have like an asset list printed out from the previous build, but I didn't want to just like re-add all of it because it was a lot. Now on this side, this looks like a big either commercial or... Let's see, but I need it to be long, like a 9x12 all. Let's see, yeah, I mean something like that, but not quite as big. It's kind of like a tall white building, so maybe I'll just do it as... Could do it as commercial. I really want to do it as office. I have enough office already. It's always a tricky part. Sometimes in my mind, I'm like, I want to get it right. I want to get it. I want to make it look good, but it's not always that simple. You know what? I think that looks pretty good, actually. Let's see, how many? 64. I moved this in a little bit. That'll work for now. I wanted to just get some cars populating up here so you can see what's going on. Thank you, pizza. Yeah, damn, I cannot believe how many people have been watching. When I did some streams on the Yorkshire stream on my previous build, and I would get like, I don't know, like 5 people at most, maybe like 1 or 2 people talking. And like nothing against it, like I still have so much like respect for those who did that, like super cool of them. But it's awesome to get like, I mean, my channel, I've had like 800 new subscribers in the last month. I had 80 in the previous year before that. Give me 1 second, I need just to grab my phone. I'm curious to see what my subscriber count's at now, because I'm really close to 1,000. I'm at 991 right now. So I'll crack 1,000 soon, and then it's just a matter of hours until I get the, get monetized by YouTube. Not that that's my goal. My goal is not, I'm not doing this to make money. I don't really expect to make much money off this, if any. But, every little bit helps. Especially when you live in New York. I know people joke about it a lot, but it is true. New York is really freaking expensive. Like stupidly expensive. Like I can't believe it's so expensive. And then it got a little bit cheaper during COVID, and the prices are all back up again. I live in a studio in a walk-up, and all I want is like a 1 bedroom and have some more space. And I don't know if it's gonna happen. I just don't know if it's gonna happen, unfortunately. So for there was somebody earlier that lives in Texas. You know, you should you know, there's negatives to all this as well. They have a negative externalities, sure, but the fact in Texas that you can go and buy like a brand new house for like 150 grand or whatever is like, it's wild to me. It's just because it's like literally impossible here. Like even a studio apartment. So a studio apartment, right, is no bedroom. It's just like you're like I'm sitting here. I can touch my bed with this hand, and my kitchen I can see like 10 feet away. Like it's a small apartment. And even in this neighborhood, studios go for like $300,000 or $400,000. A 1 bedroom starts at $500,000, which is insane. I know it's insane, but it's how it is. Let's see, what building did I want there? This guy, I haven't used this one yet, so I don't need a gap of 5. Right there. And I think I have a 3x4 as well. Ooh, I have a bunch of these. I haven't used any of these yet. Some of these are nice. I love that. I do this all the time where I'm looking, ooh, I didn't even know I had that building. It's just like, I have so many assets that I just like forget. I just straight up forget that I have certain things. All right, fine. We'll do a 2x4. Another 2x4. This corner has like a nice. Are these corner lots only like 2 length? Yeah, I guess. Like a 1x2. Do I have any of those? Short. Fine. All right, a little New York corner spot, a little late night breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Looks like a diner. I was at a classic New York City diner last night. Had a burger so good I burned the whole roof of my mouth on it. Honestly, thinking about that now, kind of glad that I'm like not like dealing with a burned mouth right now trying to do this stream. No, these should still be buildings. What am I doing? Residential. We're doing all res. As much res as we can. Alright, so look, check this out, these roads, right? So, this is the road from Olex. So the cars park on the median here, and then the bikes can still use the buffer. I don't know if there's any bikes on it right now. We'll take a look. Yeah, no bikes right now. But I'm sure they'll happen soon. And then here, so here's my custom road. I gotta play around the lines maybe a little bit because you can see the cars are almost like on the line here, but let's be real, in New York, cars don't give a damn. They park wherever they please, so. And then I will get, I gotta look. There's a decal. It's by. I can only find this one, but there's definitely another one in that same pack. Oh, here it is. Nice. So I mean, I won't do this for everything because like there'll be way too many assets and way too many you know, things to place down. But I mean, that's cool. That looks awesome. This will be great for screenshots. And then I need some better logo. Maybe you just use the word bus. Is that enough? Oh yeah, I love that. I think you do this. You page down them a little bit until they start sinking into the road. Then they kind of look a little faded. It's dope. I love it. Am I using realistic parking? Yes, I believe that I am. Let's take a look. Yeah, these are all the mods that I have. All there, so I do have my mods are all in a collection if you want to take a look at them. But not the part. Oh yeah, you need a little more realistic parking. I do have that. I have pretty high dynamic lane selection. I'm running a pretty powerful processor. This is a 5900X, so I don't really have any problems getting this to work right. It's really RAM becomes my limitation. I'm on 32 gigs of RAM, and I probably should go to 64 at some point, but I just don't feel like spending the money. Because I have to replace all my RAM. It would cost me like probably like $250-ish. Maybe I'll treat myself for my birthday. I'm not going to be using American traffic lights. I spoke about this briefly earlier, but essentially they're buggy. Like the mod's buggy, the assets themselves are buggy, and I don't think they add enough to make it worth the bugginess. Still nobody biking. We gotta make this a biking city. It's really cool to see somebody like swing across on a bike here, because they could theoretically like come across on a bike here, then swing straight down. But I don't think we've had anybody doing that yet. Frame rate drop and death waves. So I'm not sure I have the the life cycle balancer installed right now. I might need to take a look at a new mod for that, or I don't know. I gotta look. I'm not sure if I have that running right now. But death waves wise, just like put a lot of like death services in the place and let them happen. Like even if you have a mod installed, you're still gonna get death waves. I mean, they're really unavoidable. You just gotta minimize them as much as you can. Alright, and then on big streets like this, so this is a major road, we're gonna do all commercial. I'm gonna try to keep commercial on this like as much as I can. Like onto major avenues and not onto other areas of the city. Especially in areas like this where like these taller buildings, they really generate a lot of people, so I don't need them to be like, I don't need them to be massive. So having them be this kind of size is enough. And I think these are supposed to have like shop signs. I might be missing some props. I'm really big on downloading assets and not downloading their props to keep my like RAM size reasonable. Because right now I'm pretty much maxed out. Right now if I try to load the game up, it pretty much goes into my page file, which is fine. I don't mind that. But it does mean that I really can't be adding that many more of other things. Although I did just add in the 2 World Trade Center assets to do that little comparison of them, and it worked fine. Like, it just worked. So maybe I do have a little bit more leeway to keep putting new assets in, but I'm just not sure that I do. Really? Alright, that's fine. We'll put that there. finish up. Ooh, that's actually the fire department right there. So let's put in a fire department. I think I have some New York City looking fire department. Again, I have fires turned off so that you won't actually see any like fire trucks running around, but it is still fun to put in the department itself. So in case I do ever turn that off, my entire city won't just immediately burn to the ground. Man, there's so many buildings on each block, huh? It's always more tedious than I think. And it looks like this is like a dirt road basically. I've never seen that before. Not dirt, but like this is an alleyway here. New York does not have a lot of alleyways. It's one of the things that makes it so unique as a city. And it's also why there's trash on the streets everywhere, because there's no alleyways. Yeah, if you've ever been to New York, you'll know, especially in the summer, it is Trash City. I often refer to it as such. I call it Trash City, because that's what it is. Then it looks like in real life there's actually a little synagogue here, but I need to go and download some more like church assets. I'm just gonna put that there for now. Delete this. And go 1x3 and put in one of these narrow ones. Oh, look at that fit. Perfect. Okay, I'll do this to here. You know, not a fully detail. I should probably detail this in, but yeah. There it is. That's our first block of the East Village. All right, I'm gonna stop building blocks right now. We've only got about a few minutes left here. I'm gonna sign off pretty soon. So before we do, I'd like to know if anybody has anything else they'd like to see or ask me about before we're finished. Yeah, Rudy, Move It. The mod is called Move It. It is like the quintessential City Skylines mod if you're playing on PC. Now, unfortunately, no mods on console. Oh, there it is. See, look there. There we go. There's somebody biking on the bike path. Where are you going, little guy? I want to know where you're going. Oh, he's biking all the way downtown. That is awesome. Look where he's riding his bike to. All the way to, I guess this is like his school. That's cool. I love that kind of stuff. Oh my god, where did it go? Where did we go? How often will episodes come out? I was talking about this briefly before. I'd love it to be every week, but in reality it won't be. It'll probably be 10 days, 2 weeks, sometimes longer. I got a lot going on, so. And these episodes take a total of about 10 hours for me to produce. 4 hours or so in the game. Well, 3 to 4 hours in the game, which gets cut down. All the video is sped up. And then I gotta spend a few hours editing. I gotta record the audio. I gotta record the cinematics. Gotta make the thumbnail. Gotta get it all uploaded to YouTube. Yeah, so it's not the easiest, but we will definitely do live streams instead whenever I have the chance. I'm trying to find intermediates. And live streams will get better too as we go on, because I'll be less afraid of like showing you something I'm not supposed to, and be more about like just, hey, we're gonna do a stream and we're gonna fill in all of this. You know, we'll just sit and do nothing but chat and talk and show you things and fill stuff in. Kind of like we did today, but maybe a little bit more focused in the future. Let's see what I missed. Do I know the Calgary Stampede? They're a Canadian football team, correct? For legal reasons, it goes to Canada. That's awesome. Yeah. Although weed is now legal in New York. You can't buy it legally anywhere yet, but it is legal. It's, they're really dragging their feet trying to get it ready for sale, which sucks, but we'll get there eventually. Hello, Denmark. Never been to Denmark. Always wanted to go. Been to a lot of other countries around there. Yeah, Ukrainian Village. So Ukrainian Village is like a subset of the East Village. There are some great Ukrainian restaurants and things around there. And I definitely will build that at some point. I think the East Village will be its own episode, where part of this will get filled in off camera, part of it we'll do during the video, and we'll talk a lot about its history. We'll do Tompkins Square Park. We'll build the buses around there, because the East Village is kind of cool because the L, which is the gray colored subway line that runs across 14th Street and then into Brooklyn, that has a stop right here on First. That's its last stop in the city. So because of that, because A, B, C, and D don't have any subway service, this neighborhood's very big on buses. And I'll show you. Let's look at a bus, actually. Prop? Custom? They're called Flyer. Like there we go. Oh yeah, there it is. So we will eventually do these, but just to show you, I'm using these buses that are both, you know, bendy buses and regular ones. These are the newer style ones, the new livery. They even have, like, you know, route names on them. These are, you know, Brooklyn-based names, but, you know, Brooklyn and the Bronx. BX is the Bronx, but, yeah, I think these buses look super cool. In the previous build, I had the more, like, the white, like, the previous model of New York buses, but I figure these will stand out a little bit more. And then what other cars do I have? So I have NY. Maybe they're under police? Maybe we got subway assets. That's the R142. Oh yeah, here's some of the cop cars we have. When will I build a theater district? That'll take a while. It'll take a while for me to get that far uptown. I really want to do, like... So it's going to be... This will be the last thing we talk about. I think this is a good place to end it. But basically, we're going to do World Trade Center and Battery Park City next. That's down here. And then at some point, not giving an exact episode order, but just kind of in general, I'll be doing East Village, Williamsburg and the Williamsburg Bridge, building out the subway system, probably doing Hudson Yards since those have so many great assets, probably then doing Times Square, Theater District, 42nd Street, Grand Central, all that. We'll do Long Island City at some point, mainly because there's a major connection from here into the Midtown Tunnel. So I'll probably continue to ask every episode, you know, what do you guys want to see? Because I really don't mind, you know, taking some advice from the audience, but can't do everything at once. But we'll get to what we can when we can. What is my opinion on New Jersey? This is where I start screaming and cursing and end the stream, right? No, I love Jersey. I mean, it gets a lot of hate, but there's a lot of great things about it too. I used to live in Jersey for a few years. I grew up pretty close to the border, so you know, nothing but love for Jersey. There's plenty of worse states in the union than New Jersey. I won't say which, but they're out there. Times Square, I have all those buildings. Yeah, all those buildings exist. Maybe not all of them. Maybe some of them have dropped off the workshop over the years, but yeah. Somebody said Flatiron before too. I have that. Yeah, maybe we'll do like a landmarks episode and just build out a few landmarks while we're building the grid. I'm not sure. I'm gonna try to keep these episodes fresh. I don't always want to do time-lapse live stream. They'll all be a little bit different, and we're gonna continue to work with what performs best. So if you like them, I'll get the subscriptions, I'll get those likes, and I'll know what to work on next. And but I really want to go ahead now and thank everybody so much for being here for the stream today. The support and the amount of people that showed up was just beyond what I could have ever imagined and hoped for. And we're gonna keep it going. We're gonna keep this growing. Thank you for being here early on. And we're not gonna stop. We're gonna keep building the city until it breaks, like I said in that first episode. And I hope you're here along for the ride. So everybody enjoy the rest of your Sundays. And just have a good one. Thank you so much once again. I'll see you all soon. Bye.